You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button.
It's good. Terry and I have enjoyed our time together, and got a little more time for family, get to see grandkids a little more, and it's been really, really good. Play a little more golf. So that's not good, but it's fun.
Sounds good, doesn't he? Doesn't he sound relaxed? Don't you love it? Doesn't Nick sound more relaxed? Doesn't he?
He does, especially with the media. He's laughing.
You got to laugh.
He
got to chuckle. Look, he's part of the media now.
That's true.
He's got to be a little more gregarious. He's got to be a little more inviting. I'm playing a little more golf. Not sure that's a good thing. Look, he was asked, hey, you going to pick against Alabama? Hey, look, you got to get these kicker questions now, right, Nick? You going to pick against them on game day?
I've tried to steer away from picking people. I think I'm going to have to do that now. But I don't know that you always have to pick the team you think is going to win. You're allowed to have a spiritual feeling about who you like and who you want to win. So,
Nick,
I think it'll be a lot of fun, though.
Hey, look, we've seen the old Sunshine Scooter pick Navy every year, right, in the Army-Navy game. Corso coached at Navy. Every year he picks Navy, brings out the old Navy robe that he gets to wear. You know what I mean? Sure. Nick will probably wear his 7 championship rings when he goes out there to on game day and Bama's play. Maybe he'll have all that crimson blazer. Who could blame him, right? If Corso gets to put his Navy robe on, why would anybody fault Nick for being out there? You know what? They even asked, this was at the Saban Legacy Award presentation. And they asked old Nick his early impressions of his successor there, Kalen DeBoer. Here's what he said.
I really haven't been around. I really try to stay arm's length. I don't want anybody to think I'm looking over their shoulder. I think he's hired a good staff, and I think he's a good man. I think he's a good coach, and I think he'll do a really good job.
Yeah. You want to know? You want to know my opinion, Muse? Why Nick hasn't been around?
I'd love to.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want to watch Kalen DeBoer tear down everything he spent the last 2 decades building. Nick has gotten a ticket on a plane out of town, Muse.
One way.
Playing golf in a palatial estate somewhere far, far from the plume of smoke that continues to hover over Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. You know what?
What?
You thought after that initial kaboom! When Nick Saban left, the bomb exploded. The mushroom cloud swelled over Tuscaloosa. A giant gaping hole right in the center of Bryant-Dennehy Stadium swallowed up more than 30 Alabama football players into the transfer portal. The likes of Caleb Downs, Julian Sayin, some of the best players on that Alabama roster, their best defensive back, their best receiver, their 5-star quarterback, all gone. And do you know what Alabama fans have done to respond, Muse?
What's that?
They make taunts about basketball wins now.
Shout out, Nate Oates.
Can't wait for him to leave next.
That's coming.
And you might remember. Oh, we've celebrated the destruction. Oh, we've celebrated the flames that have engulfed the entire city of Tuscaloosa as crimson tears have rained down upon the collective college football consciousness, and we have all bathed in their tears because for 17 years they urinated on our collective head, and now the turns have tabled. The tables have turned, that is. It's your turn to burn. You might remember, Tide fans, that I sat in this very chair at this very microphone with that very fire graphic behind me, and I told you point blank, oh, Alabama's gonna sign players out of the portal. They're not gonna field a team with 40 scholarship players. If you don't remember what I said, here it is. Alabama's not gonna play with 40 scholarship players next year. They're gonna get commitments. And commitments they have gotten, Muse.
Look at that.
I don't know if you noticed, but we talked about it back in the day. They brought in some offensive lineman from Washington, Parker Brailsford, who is a no-star who redshirted at Washington, replacing a fifth-year senior starting center, a 3-year senior starting center. Who would you rather have?
3-year starting center.
Yeah, at Alabama.
Yeah.
Not the guy who redshirted at Washington.
Yeah, I want the guy who was on the field. Yeah.
Oh, Muse. Not sure if you saw Tuesday. Actually, I think it was Monday night. Kalen DeBoer nabbed him a couple of more transfers.
Ooh, all right. Getting the numbers up.
He needed a tight end, and he went and got one. His name is Josh Cuevas.
Sounds like a player. I like him.
Josh Cuevas, transferring in from Washington. And you know what I told you, Muse? I told all those Alabama fans, what did I tell them? I said, as this goes along, I'm going to go player by player, and I'm going to point out side by side every player you lost and who you're bringing in to replace him, and what will reveal itself is that your roster is a shell of what Nick Saban spent 20 years building, and here's a great example of it. Would you like for me to tell you about our friend Alabama Crimson Tide tight end Josh Cuevas?
I'd love it. We got a Mackey watch list here. What we got?
Alabama tight end Josh Cuevas, coming out of high school, 6'5", 230 in Valley Village, California, was a no-star recruit. Did not have a profile at 247. Went to Cal Poly and then transferred to Washington. A year ago, Josh Cuevas did play in all 15 games, Muse, but in those 15 games, 4 catches for 164 yards and a score. Does that sound like an Alabama tight end? No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why. Here's Alabama's recent tight end recruiting history. Ty Lockwood, the number 4 tight end in the country. Amari Niblock, the number 8 tight end in the country. Caden Clark, the 6th best tight end in the country. Jaleel Billingsley, he stunk, the 11th best tight end in the country. Major Dennison was 8th. Kedrick James was 9th. Irv Smith was 6th. Miller Forrestall 11th. O.J. Howard, the number 1 tight end in the country. And Alabama's got a tight end that didn't even have a recruiting profile at 247. By the way, the guy you lost, Amari Niblock, he's going to Texas. 20 catches, 327 yards, and 4 scores last year. He's good enough to go play for Steve Sarkisian now at Texas. And you know who you have, Alabama? Josh Cuevas, 4 catches at Washington, a no-star recruit. In what world, in what reality would Alabama ever have a no-star recruit at tight end? I'll tell you where. A reality where Nick Saban is no longer the coach, where your reign of terror is over, where your roster is going to look more like Kentucky than Alabama. Oh, but I'm not done, Muse.
They got another one?
They got another one. They needed a safety. I'm not sure if you heard.
Heard.
But Caleb Downs left.
He gone.
And I thought, Muse, maybe I might be wrong about this one. Maybe I'll have to eat my words about this one because Kalen DeBoer went up to Ann Arbor.
Oh.
He went to the defending national champions, the Maize and Blue, the Big House. And he nabbed Keon Sabb out of Ann Arbor as a safety transfer. And I thought to myself, well, that might be a pretty good get there. After all, Keon Sabb has a ring.
He does.
Have you ever heard the name Keon Sabb?
I have not.
That's because Keon Sabb, in 2 years in Ann Arbor, has 28 tackles and only 5 games started in 2 years. Keon Sabb was a backup at Michigan. As a transfer, he's the 4th best safety. You want to know who the best transfer safety in the country is this year?
I think I have a pretty good idea of who that is. Who is it?
You know who it is.
Would it be
Caleb Downs, the 5-star #1 safety in the country coming out of high school, the 8th best player in the country coming out of high school, the freshman All-American Caleb Downs, the freshman All-America Caleb Downs, the first-team All-American from Pro Football Focus. His 107 tackles were the most by a freshman ever at Alabama, the first freshman at Alabama to lead the team in tackles since at least 1970. And Caleb Downs is now Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, and you've replaced him with a guy who in 2 years at Michigan was a backup and had a total of 28 tackles. The Crimson Empire is burning to the ground. There's not a single spot on the field, not one, where Alabama will be better in 2024 than they were in 2023. Not only is Nick Saban gone, not only is his coaching staff gone, but the standard he set, the depth and talent in that roster has eroded. And Alabama now is going to be fielding players that were no-star recruits coming out of high school. Over under 9.5. You better take the under. Because I got news for you, Kalen DeBoer. It's going to be hard as hell to coach a game of football on a burning pile of rubble. Bama is burning. Nick Saban is golfing. Miss Terry is happy. He's spending time with the grandkids. But Nick just patiently taps his ring-clad fingers on his prosthetic knees as he watches the empire he built burn to the ground. And all you stupid gumps on Twitter, keep throwing out your basketball insults. We'll just keep laughing at you every step of the way. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.